Aye.
Hello. We are in Search of Christian Freedom, chapter Legalism, Opponent of Christian Freedom. That's page 238. And then the subhead is A Great Body of Law Developed. Ray says, the Watchtower's publications have often spoken in very negative terms about the development among the Jews of a Talmud based on rabbinical interpretations of the Mosaic Law. Yet over the past 4 decades, the organization has developed its own body of law, one of remarkable extent and complexity. This has all been done in the name of keeping the congregation clean and separate from the world, thereby assuring its righteousness before God. The organization itself acknowledges the existence of such law.
Thus, in an article titled, Do You Belittle Discipline, under the subheading, Disciplined Every Step of the Way, the Watchtower stressed the role of the New Society, a once popular name.
New World Society.
Oh, sorry. What did I say?
New Society.
Oh, sorry. New World Society, a once popular name for describing the witness organization, in supplying such discipline, and said, quote, So it is that by the New World Society's application of the stated scriptural commands, examples, rules, and principles to the issues and problems of life, a great body of theocratic law is being built up.
That great body of theocratic law has become far greater during the 3 decades since that article was written. Clearly, this is not merely a matter of taking direct statements from Scripture, for in that case, it would not be described as a building up of a great body of theocratic law. The building up results from the interpreting of such scriptural statements, enlarging upon them, extending them into more and more detailed application to the issues and problems of life, not merely as a form of exposition or exhortation, but with the interpretations themselves now becoming theocratic law.
It is not necessary for such rules of conduct or action to be specifically called laws for them to be laws. As we have seen, law is rightly defined as a binding custom or practice of a community, a rule of conduct or action prescribed or formally recognized as binding or enforced by a controlling authority. Law contrasts with a precept, since law implies imposition by a sovereign authority and the obligation of obedience on the part of all subject to that authority, whereas precept commonly suggests something advisory and not obligatory, communicated typically through teaching. While believing that they are no longer under Mosaic law, the evidence is that Jehovah's Witnesses have come under another law and submit to it. They have come to believe that their righteousness is firmly tied to keeping it.
Then Ray begins the subhead, Replacing one system of legal control with another. That is the way matters are presented in another Watchtower publication, titled Pay Attention to Yourselves and All the Flock, part of a Kingdom Ministry School textbook designed for use in seminars held with elders of Jehovah's Witnesses in 1981. Now, at the bottom of that page, Ray lists some of the members of that committee, the governing body's teaching committee, which at that time had on it Albert Schroeder, Carl Klein, Leo Greenlees, and Ted Jarrahs. That book was only, by the way, for elders' consumption. Publishers were not allowed to see this book. On page 144, we find the following. And this is under the page heading, Under the Law of Christ, Galatians 6:2. Quote, Jehovah's people today are not under the control of the body of law known as the Mosaic law of ancient Israel. Paul showed that since there has been a change in the priesthood from Aaron to that of Jesus Christ in the manner of Melchizedek, Christians are under a new legal arrangement of control. Some rules of conduct found in the old law of Moses have been restated under the law of the Christ and are enforceable upon Christians. Other rules of conduct from the law of Moses, with their underlying principles, though not enforceable in the Christian congregation, are nevertheless useful to Christians as they walk in the way of holiness. It is well for elders to consider some of these guidelines that are intended to protect the Christian congregation and keep it clean in Jehovah's sight. And there the book, Pay Attention, starts a new subhead, Law of the Christian Congregation. And it begins by saying Christians are not under the Mosaic law, but under the law of the Christ, based again on Galatians 6:2 and 1 Corinthians 9 verse 21. Next point is consists of a body of rules for Christian conduct, and they base that on Galatians 6 verse 16. So in the next section, Ray analyzes principally three statements or clauses here, or phrases that are very potent in their implication as to whether Christians are under grace or under law. And those phrases are a new legal arrangement of control, and a body of rules for Christian conduct, and especially this phrase, enforceable on Christians.
Yeah, those are the points he underlined in his book.
And that's in the next segment.
Mm-hmm.